Is Logan Sargent in trouble? Have his mistakes been too much? What are the Williams team saying, and what are the options going into the future? Hi, and welcome back or welcome to the channel. This is your first time here. My name is Amy, and I have a somewhat unhealthy obsession with Formula One. Now, in today's episode, we are talking about a driver that I haven't really spoken about too much, even though his season hasn't been great this year. It's of course our American rookie, Logan Sargent. I think the best way to start this video is what prompted me to make it in the first place. And I wasn't going to talk about him after Zandvoort. I didn't do that, nor did I do it after Singapore. But again, he had another crash during qualifying in Japan. So I figured it's probably about time we talk about his future. Now, throughout the season, Logan Sargent has had a total of 5 DNFs while scoring 0 points for the Williams team. In comparison to his teammate Alex Albon, who has actually been doing really well and has had numerous points finishes and does really well in qualifying just in general. So already you can see there's a bit of a deficit there, although some of that we can probably chalk up to him, being a rookie, so some of it's a bit excusable. But at this point, at 3 of the last 4 races, he's had significant incidents with him crashing either in qualifying or the race itself. Now let's talk about Zandvoort for a second. Logan Sargent did really well in qualifying there. He was the first American in I think 20 or 30 years, something stupid, to get into Q3 in F1. So amazing, first of all. However, he did throw that away by crashing in Q3. So there's that. And then in Japan this weekend, again, crashing during the first part of qualifying. So there's that. And during the race in Singapore, he crashed, resulting in a safety car. I was about to have Singapore, I was rudely interrupted because I have obnoxious last neighbours. My neighbours, they live 2 blocks away. I need to hear their music. Anyway, not doing so great for Logan Sargent. And again, I do always like to cut the rookies some sort of slack, but it does get to a point where it's not a good look. It's really not. And over the course of the weekend, the media obviously spoke to team boss James Vowles about whether they were keeping Logan Sargent or not. And he still seems really supportive, which is probably a good thing for Sargent. After the race weekend, James Vowles came out and said, "Logan has very clear targets of what he has to hit before the end of the season, and we are working with him continuously." And that's the important point. We are working with him. We want him to succeed, and we want him in the car next year. But that being said, Williams, they are probably one of the teams with the least amount of money on the grid, and in a cost cap era, accidents like the one Sargent has been having can be extremely costly for their team. And again, over the course of the weekend, the controversy over whether it was a second or third car that Logan was running, whether Williams actually just built enough of a third car for him to just run a new one, and then he got obviously grid penalties and stuff like that, having to stop in the pit lane and whole drama. But having to do that multiple times a year costs a lot of money, and the team has said they've had to divert resources away from next year's car into fixing the car that Sargent keeps crashing, which again, not particularly helpful for his case. Again, to quote James Vowles, "Under the cost cap, what you don't want to be doing is overproducing parts. We've had more attrition than expected, I think it's fair to say. We've had enough to deal with the incident today," referring to Sargent's crash in qualifying, "but it means we'll have to divert attention away from the other items while producing more spare parts before the end of the year." So yeah, that combined with the gap to his teammate, not great. And obviously a lot of pressure being America's first rookie in so long, and I do understand why the team wants to keep him. He is a pretty solid dude. And he is making that jump from F2 to F1 this year, and even then he wasn't the best performing driver in F2. He probably got the seat because he was part of Williams' junior program, which good for him. But again, there might be drivers more deserving of that seat, such as 2 that I'm going to go over now, who were in F2 last year and who did beat Logan Sargent by the end of the season. Those being current Aston Martin current Aston Martin reserve driver Felipe Drugovich, and AlphaTauri's, well, back to being reserve driver Liam Lawson. I didn't even think about Felipe Drugovich before I started researching for this video, which probably says something, but apparently he is keen to get into that seat. He has the money for it, he has the backing from Aston Martin, and we know that he's strong. Just sponsor another driver while you're at it. Let him get that seat. I would be interested to see Felipe in F1. He absolutely dominated F2 last year. I know it was his third season in the series. He wasn't a rookie by any means, but still, complete and utter domination. And then our second option is Liam Lawson, who he came into F1 this year for the first time. He's only been here 3 races, and he is absolutely lighting it on fire. He's gone so well. And I've been saying repeatedly that he should be in that AlphaTauri seat. I've been saying it for God knows how long now, and he wasn't announced for it. Daniel and Yuki were announced for that seat next year, which means Liam isn't in one, which is quite sad. And the only one available that hasn't been confirmed for next year is Logan Sargent. Now, do I think Williams are more likely to take Liam over Felipe? Whilst I think it would be a better idea and I would prefer to see him on the grid, I don't think so. Just if you're looking at it from their point of view, you are developing another driver for a top team. Unless Liam completely cuts ties with Red Bull, which I don't think Red Bull will allow to happen, let alone Liam would like to happen. So, there's that. But if he is able to cut those ties with Red Bull, then I think it would be a great option for Williams to put him into that seat. Him alongside Albon, they've been teammates before. They were teammates back in DTM a few years ago. Like, they know each other. They've both been part of that Red Bull family. So I would love to see them as a duo on the grid. But ultimately, I do think Williams is going to stick with Sargent for next year. It has been quite a disappointing season. And we don't know what targets he was meant to hit. I'm assuming one of them might have been to score at least a point this year. So we'll see in the next few races, because he is not confirmed for next year. And even though Williams has said they want to keep him on, who knows if they will or not. Like, we don't know at the end of the day. And although we might not actually be seeing it as F1 fans, according to the team and James Vowles, again, sorry, I quote him so much, but he is such a quotable person. He said that Logan, if you compare the lap times, lap after lap, is within tenths of Alex Albon in Japan, until he had his crash. So maybe he's just another crash-happy rookie who actually has a lot of speed underneath. Such as Yuki Tsunoda, who, again, if we look back first season, very crash-prone, this year doing really well. So again, maybe it's just time. That's all he needs, is time in the sport to adjust. But this is a sport where you are only as good as your last performance, quite frankly, and his recent ones have not been great. So yeah. Sorry for this. This is a really quick, ranty type of video. I just wanted to get this out and talk about it because there is quite a bit in the media being like, Williams do want to keep him, and they seem very confident in him, but I don't know. It's quite a bit. And I do think we should give rookies at least 2 seasons. But when your season's been this bad, though I guess we'd have given Nikita like 3. So anyway, that brings this video to a wrap. Let me know who you think is going to be in that Williams seat next season. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe for more F1 and motorsport related content. I will see you all in the next one. Laters.